Hello, seniors. My name is Michael Williams. As you know, Brenda asked me to talk to you a little bit about the Miners Trust Fund and the application and how that all works, and then different options you have when going through it. So, as you know, I am Oneida, so I did get my Miners Trust Fund when I graduated high school and I turned and I went off to college. So I have experience in this, and I'll talk about that along the way. So first off, we can just go over the eligibility requirements to claim it. So the first thing I have here is the link to the actual Oneida Nation page that has all of this information. So all you have to do is, if you have any more questions or want to do any more research on top of what I've done, you can just go to this link that this presentation will be posted for you. And right here, you can see that the criteria and deadlines for the 2019 Miners Trust distribution will be posted at the beginning of 2019. So that's in a couple of months now, actually 1 month. So you'll be able to see that the specific details of that once they post that. Be sure to check in on this because while the information I'm telling you is accurate, it's accurate to previous years and it may have changed along the way. So just make sure that everything I'm telling you is there, and that's why I'm providing you the link. But so all this whole page should be updated with what you need. But to go over the eligibility requirements, you need to have your deferral forms and your direct deposit in by March 30th. So if you have to mail them, make sure you mail them on time so that they'll make it there by March 30th. And also let them know what minor is going to be on the account. So if it's for you, make sure it's on there. If you're doing it for you're mailing it for your friend as well, make sure their name is on the letter. You must be 18 by September 1st of 2019. So distributions happen in October, which we'll talk about later. So you need to be 18 by the September before that. So by September 1st, 2019. So even if you're not 18 by the time you graduate, just by September 1st of 2019. You must complete the notarized Miners Trust Payment Deferral Form. So that has to be done by July 1st. And the important part to note about this is notarized. So if you have any questions on what that is, notarizing things is there's people who basically stand there and say, yes, I saw this person sign it, and then they sign it saying that they saw you sign it, so that people can't lie on who signed what. Normally they'll have it in legal agreements. In this case, you need to have a notary. If you need a notary, you can go to any of your banks. They normally have one. Or if you go to the enrollment department, which is right outside of the, there is the library in Site 1 or in the, behind, by the One Stop, there's the library over there. If you go there into the enrollment department right next door, you can, they're notaries, so they can notarize your document. So if you want to do it there, you can do it there and then just turn it in right there because that's where all of it is turned in. If you are under the age of 21, you must also submit a proof of diploma, or GED, something of high school equivalency, by 4:30 on September 1st of 2019. So the same time that you have to be 18, you also have to prove that you graduated high school because that is one of the requirements of getting this sum of money. With all of that, when you fill out the forms, you can defer the money. You do not have to take all this money. It is a lot of money to take in at one point in time. It's very overwhelming for people. So you can defer it in different amounts. So there's different advantages to deferring. You don't have to pay taxes until you get the money. So the money stays in there and is tax-free until you take it out. And then while it's in there, your money will keep increasing. So minor's trust will still keep gaining the interest and it'll grow bigger. And if you have a larger sum of money in there, it'll grow more. So it's good to leave money in there for savings for later. Um, and then you can choose to defer a certain amount. So you can defer all of it and leave it all in there, 75, 50, 25, or claim it all. So you can see that on the document when you go to it. It's like, it's the second step, and it's, do you want to defer it? You can choose how much you want to defer. This is an option you should really think about because it's a lot of money to take in at one point in time. And so it's really important to think about what you actually need. So think about, do I need this 30K or so? Or can it wait because I'm going to get my school refund checks and stuff like that? And keep that in mind that you will get, if you come to Madison, you'll be covered by your tuition. So all of the scholarships and stuff that you come in on top of that will be refunded to you, and you'll have that money directly. So think about what money you're getting and if you'll be working, because you don't need to take this money out if you really don't need it. So really think about this when you do it. If you choose to defer, for the first 3 years, you can defer when you're 18, 19, and 20. And then each year they'll give you a chance to take the money back out. After that, you can only take the money out at 21, 24, and 27. So it's like, those are the ages at when you can take out the money. So if you leave it in there, they only let you, like if you leave it after 21, you'll have to wait till you're 24 to take it out. So keep that in mind when you're deferring. And then you can only defer up to the age of 30. So the max amount of years it can be in there after 18 is 12. So make sure you also don't defer when you get 20 or when you hit any of these ages, or when you hit 30, it will automatically send out to you. And so just make sure that you have all of your information on file so that it can send out to you. So I wanted to talk a little bit about my experience with the money. When I got it last year, I deferred 50% of it, which was ended up for me being about 18K or 18,000. That was a lot of money. When you go from a bank account from 2 digits to 5 digits, it's a lot of money, and you find yourself just swiping cards without worrying about it. And I had a plan when I came out of high school. So I had a plan that I was going to spend this much on this much on this, and some of it was splurging myself because I was like, hey, I lived this long, I deserve this, or I deserve that. My graduation gift to myself. However you want to justify it, that's what I did. And I had a budget. But after that first year, all of my money from that first amount is gone. So I spent whatever the amount was on my budget. I gave some of my money to my family. I used it for bills. I used it for school. And now that 18K is gone completely. Was it good on what I spent it all? Probably not. A lot of the times I was eating out every day of my freshman year. I didn't need to do that. It was very unhealthy for me, and it caused a lot of problems in my budget because I just spent it without thinking about it. So it's really important that you have a budget and you stick to it. So with that, I would say if you take out any amount of money, if you take out 25%, you should move that money to a different account. The biggest thing is when you look at your bank account, you don't want to see all of that money in one space. So you should have like the income you make from work and this money in a different account so that you don't have to think about, I have 15,000. I don't need to think about swiping my card. When really you only made $100 this week and you're spending $300 on clothes. So you should really think about moving it to a different account so that you can do it. This year I ended up taking out the other half, and that's what I do now. And I'm working my money a lot more efficiently. I still have spent a good amount of it because that's what I needed it for, but I haven't spent more than what I budgeted. So I still have a large sum of the money and it's in a savings account separate from my account. Um, Another thing to keep an eye out for is when you're deferring it, make sure you turn in your papers like on time and it's very clearly stated, and that you check with them after it that you are deferring. Um, they this past year when they did it, I I chose to defer my other half of money, and they still sent it to me. So I didn't really need this half of money, but because of whatever reasoning they did, um, even though I turned in the deferral forms, they still sent it to me. So make sure you follow up with them and call them and say, hey, am I deferring this money? And make sure you say, check that because that's what I want to do. Because if you don't need the money, don't take the money. It's really important. And if you do need the money, make sure you have a budget set out so that you don't spend too much of it. Because even if you just know, hey, I got this much, you need to keep track of, okay, I'm making this much. I can only spend this much. If you all have any questions, you can always reach out to me and talk to me about it. Again, my email is on our Canvas course, but I'll say it. It's mwilliams24@wisc.edu. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me at any point in time just to talk about it. Also reach out. You can reach out to Sophie or Brenda or Bobby, and they'll be able to help you as well. Yeah, that's all I've got, and I'll see you later, seniors.